Welcome into Outkick the Show, Friday edition. Coming to you late now because I wanted to watch the press conference that the president just completed at the White House. As he was speaking, as the president spoke, the stock market rose 1,000 points. There was a full array of company leaders, CEOs, from across the landscape of the healthcare industry, whether it was Walgreens, whether it was testing companies, whether it was even retailers like CVS and Walgreens and Walmart. And this was a home run press conference. Let me just make it clear. This was a home run press conference because what has happened is the best of the American government has now been wedded to the best of dynamic American capitalism to ensure that we have the best response in the entirety of the globe to the coronavirus. And this is what I've been saying was going to happen. See, a lot of the people who want to rip America don't even take the time to consider that we are the best. We are the best at everything in the world because we have created the best system of dynamic capitalism. And I give credit to the White House, to Donald Trump, to Mike Pence for recognizing that the CDC testing system for coronavirus was broken because it wasn't designed for a pandemic of this magnitude, and saying we need to recreate an entire testing system. Now, if you watched this press conference and you didn't pay attention to a lot of the fireworks, we learned a lot. First of all, there are a lot of really brilliant people working on this. And I think when people sit around on social media yapping and they're whining and they're complaining, they aren't actually doing, right? The old man in the arena speech. Some of the most brilliant people in the world we are fortunate enough to have in America working on this to try and fix the issue. People get mad at me because I say I believe in markets. I believe in the dynamic nature of American markets to respond to supply. I trust data. I trust serving consumers, okay? And that's what this press conference was all about. That's why the stock market rose 1,000 points during the purpose of this press conference, okay? This was incredible, all right? And everybody out there who is upset right now is in some way not paying attention to what was said. So let's go through some of the things that were said. I'm not great on names. Never been great on names, all right? The woman, I think her last name is Burks. I believe her last name was Burks, and then Fauci, whatever you pronounce the other guy's name. Burks said something that is really interesting that I don't think is getting enough media attention. The vast majority of people who asked for a coronavirus test are going to come back negative because they have other respiratory illnesses, the flu, the cold, whatever it is. So 98%, she said, or even 99% of the people who actually take the trouble to go get a test are not going to test positive for the coronavirus. Therefore, you need, when you look at this in a larger context, and I think they could have driven this even home more in the press conference, most people don't need to be tested for the coronavirus. You don't need to go to the emergency room if you've got a cold. You don't need to go and sit around people who might be ill in an effort to get a test if you aren't really sick. If you feel sick, stay home from work, put on Netflix, get underneath the covers, and chill, okay? Sometimes literally. If that is the way you feel. If you are so ill that you are worried about your health, that's when you need to go see a doctor. That's when you need to go see a physician. That's when you need to go to the ER. We don't need, by creating panic, to overload all of our situations with our healthcare providers. They're busy, right? And one thing that I think could have also been echoed is people don't stop breaking their legs because the coronavirus is going on. People don't stop having heart attacks because the coronavirus is going on. People don't stop having medical emergencies that require them to use the ER, right? And so this is an important detail that I don't think is getting shared very much because everybody's fear-mongering. The vast majority of people, and she cited South Korea as the example of in South Korea where they have a lot of testing, 96, 97%, 98% of people who they're testing for the coronavirus don't have it. There are a lot of chronic hypochondriacs in this country. The minute they get a sneeze or sniffle, they think they're going to die. And so they are going to overload in some sense, but that's why now we're going to have the ability to test millions of people, all right? So I thought that was significant. And I believe, I'm a data guy, right? This is not going to get a lot of attention because it's not doom and gloom, but do you know how many people have died from the coronavirus today in America so far? In the entire country, do you know how many people have died of coronavirus in this country? Are you ready for this? 0. Now that could change in the next couple of hours, but right now in this country, there are 0 people who have died of coronavirus in the last 24 hours. In the entirety of the country, there are 41 people who have died of the coronavirus since this outbreak started. Let me repeat that. And the vast majority of them have come from one nursing home in Washington. I want you to think about this for a minute. Entire country, 327 million people, 0 have died from the coronavirus today. 0. Since this thing started, 41 total people have died from the coronavirus. That's it. Right now, there are 10 people in serious or critical condition who have the coronavirus in this country. I'm not saying this is nothing to be concerned about, okay? I'm sharing data with you for this reason. If you feel sick, stay at home. But don't panic. Don't fearmonger. Don't succumb to the fear porn that everybody is selling you out there. We are going to be fine. China, down to 22 cases in the entire country. South Korea, dominant in terms of being able to service everybody. But we're doing better than any country in the world on a per capita basis when it comes to combating the coronavirus. This is fantastic, right? The story here is about America, in my opinion, now having been put on alert and creating a response to future pandemics, which is going to allow us to provide mass testing in the event this ever occurs again. I believe in American exceptionalism. I believe that we are better than any country in the world when we put our mind towards anything. We defeated the Nazis. We're going to handle a virus, okay? Especially this virus, which we are already handling. And so one thing that I get really sick of, and I'm fired up now because I've been dealing with it all week. One thing I get really sick of is people who bitch and moan and complain and whine and don't come up with solutions. I get it. If you're upset about something and you're not happy, fix it. Fix it. Give a better solution. If you think you aren't getting paid enough at work, figure out a way to start your own company. If you think you aren't being utilized correctly where you're working now, find a new job. If you think you have assets that are being overlooked, take control of your life and dominate. So many people out there want to bitch and moan and whine and complain, and they never take the initiative or personal responsibility to either come up with solutions or take care of things themselves. This is social media writ large. And so if you believe that there are things that can be done better, then do them, suggest them, bring them in. That's what I like about this partnership between private industry, capitalistic companies, and the United States government. The United States government far too often responds slowly because it's not a capitalistic organization. It's not being held accountable minute by minute as companies are across this great nation. Like, people get mad about Amazon. Dude, Amazon is the greatest capitalistic creation when it comes to retail in the history of the world. Think about Amazon for a minute. People complain about Amazon sometimes. You can go on Amazon, order anything under the sun except for toilet paper maybe right now, and it will show up on your doorstep within 2 days. And they'll get it right. I can get any book that's ever been written. It shows up on my doorstep in 2 days. I went out with my son, my youngest son. He was playing with his toys. We lost a Lex Luthor. He has a little Lex Luthor toy. He's 5 years old. Lex Luthor got lost. We were playing in the creek. I don't know what happened to him. I looked forever for this damn Lex Luthor. I was digging all through the muck and all through the everything. And he was crying, and it was crazy. And then I said, wait a minute. Rather than spend an hour here on my hands and knees crawling around in a creek looking for Lex Luthor for my 5-year-old, why don't I just get my phone and check and see if Lex Luthor is in stock right now on Amazon? 36 hours later, boom, brand new Lex Luthor arrives on my porch. I still don't know what happened to the other Lex. That's how good Amazon is. They have everything and it can arrive instantaneously. Do you know why that is? Because they're a market-based company that has to respond to customers every single day until they can get everything perfect. And by the way, this isn't a big baller Spence move either. It's $9. All right? $9 big dad move. 5-year-old was ecstatic. Cost dad $9. Boom. Tears are over. New Lex Luthor is coming. It's kind of a baller dad move. Just be like, hey, we'll go on Amazon and get it. But you know what he thought? What is the truth? You can get anything on Amazon at any point in time because they're responsive to the public. And that's why I like this public-private partnership and why I believe it's going to be wildly successful when it comes to providing tests. It's not just what I believe. Stock market went up 1,000 points during the course of this announcement. 1,000 points. And so I believe, and I've been saying this from the get-go, that there are a lot of people out there who want to fearmonger. They want to fear porn you. They want to convince you that everything's going to be awful. And what I've always said is, whenever you see all these projections on social media, it's like, oh, this is where we are right now, and it's going to end up, it's never going to change. These situations change, right? People adjust their behavior based on what happens. So people are like, oh, they're never going to be able to stop this virus in China. Well, China had to take draconian and drastic measures to stop it. Same thing in South Korea. Now the same thing's happening in Italy. It doesn't scale and continue on that trajectory forever. The scales are dynamic. They aren't staying as a hockey stick forever. I'll give you an example. Right now, 98% of you, if I said, will you work at McDonald's? Maybe 99.5% of you would say no. If I told you, will you work at McDonald's if they pay you $100,000 to work there, the scale changes. As soon as the incentives change, behavior changes. And so this pandemic disaster doesn't end up panning out because the dynamics change and the graphs that are being designed are designed for the situation not changing. People change their behaviors. Countries change their behaviors. My concern about the coronavirus from the get-go has been this. I am concerned whether or not we are going to give up all the things that are great associated with our economy by overreacting and allowing fear to govern our actions as opposed to rational thought. And you guys have seen this if you've seen me on social media. People have been attacking me like crazy for sharing updates on how many people have the virus or how many people are dying. The idea that I would share actual facts with the American public is offensive to many people. You may not agree with the opinions that I reach, but the opinions that I reach are based on facts. And I believe you should trust the American public with real facts as opposed to trying to scare them to death. Because if you consistently try to scare people to death and not tell them the truth, that when real situations arise, we've got a boy who cried wolf dynamic at play. And I think that's why so many institutions are untrustworthy in America today. Because so many media organizations told you that your kids were going to come out malformed because of Zika. They sold that fear porn. Because they told you that SARS or Ebola or whatever it was going to come onto our shore and we were all going to die. I'm not saying that at some point in time we might not face a life or death virus that spreads rapidly around the world. Might happen. Might happen in my life. It ain't the coronavirus. Okay? All of the data told us that it was not. This thing has existed for months. A little over 5,000 people worldwide are dead. Do you know how many people die every hour around the world? 6,250. So far the coronavirus has killed worldwide less than the number of people who die every hour in the world in months. Okay? Not saying don't take it serious. Not saying if you feel ill that you should be giving grandma a kiss on the cheek. I don't think you should take your 90-year-old great-grandpa out to dinner if you're coughing and you have a fever, okay? Those are bad decisions. But if you are healthy and if you feel decent, you should keep our economy rolling. You should make the decision to keep America in great economic stead. And I'm telling you here, just make smart decisions. Be reasonable. Be rational. Use real facts to adjust your opinion. A lot of you out there right now, when I started this show and I told you that 0 people died from the coronavirus across the entire country today, you're in disbelief. Not one person out of 327 million died of the coronavirus. This is important stuff because fear is potentially in danger of tanking our economy. You just heard Donald Trump say he might have to have support for the airlines, for the cruise ships. All people are employed there. There are a lot of you right now, it's Friday, and you're sitting around, and maybe ordinarily you go out to dinner. And if you don't go out to dinner, then that waiter or waitress or bartender is not going to make the same amount of money. Everything trickles down based on confidence in this country. And when people aren't confident in the wheels of the economy, then they get caught up and they start to slow down, which leads to a gradual slowdown of the economy across the board, which could ultimately lead to a recession, even if underlying dynamics don't justify it. So much of what goes on with our decision is based on consumer confidence, which is a very ephemeral thing and hard to grab hold of. So what I've been trying to do is keep people from panicking, to believe that our brilliant leaders of both industry and government, when they all come together, are going to be able to defeat this better than almost any government in the world. And that, my friends, is what we are seeing. All right, one thing really quickly, sports. I believe that we need right now to go ahead and by fiat, by decree, whatever might be necessary, we need to announce that every single athlete who didn't get to complete his or her season gets an extra year of eligibility. This is a no-brainer to me. You get to come back if you didn't get to play in the NCAA tournament as a senior. If you didn't get to play at all because your sport got canceled, you should have the right and ability to come back. If that means there's a few more scholarships on a team, so be it. The schools can all easily afford it. You should allow seniors not to transfer or go other places, but if you're on a team, you should have the right to go out and stay for one more season if you so desire to complete your college career. I think a lot of people won't choose that, but if you want to do it, you should have that right. All right, I love all of you. It's Friday. Have a great weekend. Be confident. Be positive. We are going to kick Corona's ass up and down the street. We are going to fly in elbow style, macho man them. We're going to DDT it, old Jake the Snake Roberts style. We're going to fly in leg drop like Hulk Hogan. We are going to lift them above our head like the Ultimate Warrior did back in the day and walk underneath him and end it. Coronavirus, as John Cena would say, I'm going old school wrestling on us. You can't see me because we're going to beat its ass. I love all of you. God bless America. God bless capitalism. God bless all the brilliant people out there who are working to kick Corona's ass. Don't be afraid. Don't sell into the fearmongers out there. Don't buy into fear porn. We will prevail. Corona ain't played anybody yet, and it just stepped into the ring with the USA, and we're wrecking them. I'll see y'all. Love you. Love you. Thank you, Facebook.